Hello friends, in this video we will see some of the key terms that are necessary for understanding Buddhism, and this is very essential for preliminary examination 2022. And my name is J.Sivarajarajendran, and with that information we'll go into the video. If you look at it, Buddhism is a religion which spans across the entire Asian continent, and for example, it starts from Bamiyan, Gandhara, and Mathura. And this Gandhara and Mathura has been a very important mains question always, and they have asked it twice or thrice, and hence we have to look into the key terms that are in Buddhism to understand it, and for in the perspective of preliminary examination as well. So I'll start with the personal details. When we start with the personal details of Buddhism, we have to know where Buddha was born. So look at this map. You have an understanding of the key terms here given and the map as well, so that you will be able to match it accordingly. So birthplace, so Lumbini. So look at it. This is birthplace of the Buddha, Lumbini, which is very very essential. And the name of the mother of Buddha is Mahamaya, and father Suddhodana, wife Yashodhara, horse. So actually Buddha had a horse, and in that only he will travel across the place to understand the meaning of the four things that he sees, that is death, old age, and disease, and the monk. So the four things, he actually goes in a chariot. That is the chariot, the name of the chariot is Channa, and the horse name is Kantaka. But all this is very not that necessary for preliminary examination, but just to an understanding. But then what he does is that at the age of 29 to 35, he goes for extreme penance. In a sense, if you look at it, the difference between, this was a question in preliminary examination, the difference between Jainism and Buddhism is that in Buddhism, that is, there is middle path. There is no extremity like in Jainism. But what happens is that Buddha initially tries this extreme penance, only then he comes to this tree where he gets this enlightenment. And what you should know for preliminary examination perspective is that these places, the Lumbini, the place where he is born, and the Sarnath, so this is Sarnath, this is the place where first sermon he gives, and Bodh Gaya is the place he gets its this enlightenment. This is the thing that you should know. And there is one temple also in this place. At the last slide I will tell you the temple. You can also look at the temple. This is a very important UNESCO site. This time you should check it for preliminary examination as well. But what you should know now is that the king, so in preliminary examination the chronology is very important. Chronology by meaning who was present. So Bimbisara at the time of penance, and at the time of Kushinagar. So look at it, the Kushinagar is here. So when you are looking at this Kushinagar, when the point of the place where Buddha finally dies, is that at that time who was the king. So at that time Ajad Shatru, and at the time of penance it was Bimbisara. So this is the thing that you should know about the personal details of Buddha. Next we will go to the architecture. Architecture, this also has been asked as a question in preliminary examination. The basic difference is that the Vihara and Chaitya, this is the place of stay. So where the monks, so after Buddha goes, there is a Sangha. So they will form a Sangha or the Buddhist monastery where the monks can become members. But where do they stay means they will stay in Vihara, and where do they pray means it is in Chaitya. So this basic difference you should know. And one more thing architecture wise is that there is a stupa. That is the remains of Buddha will be buried, and they will have a stupa, or there will be a monument above it. And the stupas which are very necessary for you to look at is Sanchi stupa, and one more is Amaravati stupa. One is in a sense this is in Andhra Pradesh or in South India. So look at this as well while going for preliminary examination this time. And the next thing that you should know is some of the key terms that is UPSC will give you some key terms, and they will ask you the meaning of something like that. and Buddha means enlightened or awakened, or this is the first place. Sermon of turning of the wheel, this is the place, or this is the point where Buddha gives his first, this is the point. So Sarnath, this is where Buddha, in front of 4 or 5 disciples, he gives this Dharma Chakra. So that is the point, or the that is the turning of the wheel of the law. This is the first sermon which was there. But the important places, this is the point I want you to look at. The important places is Lumbini. So if you can look at it, this is Lumbini. This is very important. And then this tree of that is a tree of wisdom, where he gets this enlightenment. So both Gaya. So you should know that again, the last time, look at the temple in that place. Again, I am stressing on this point. This time maybe it may be a question, but in the last slide I will tell you the name of the temple as well. And then this Deer Park. So this is Deer Park. This is where the first sermon happens, and this is Kushinagar. And that is where the place of death of Buddha. But why this is important is that, see, look at this point. This is the span, or this or Buddha could have gone a little above this span. But there was a question 2 times. So this was before 2015. There was a question of Buddha's movement across Mahajanapadas. So what they said was, Buddha had gone to Gandhara. Buddha had gone to Avanti, and 2 more things were there which were in this place. So if you think about it, Buddha has traveled in a or might not have traveled outside this. So Gandhara is in northwestern India, and hence might not have traveled, and hence this will not come. Avanti will not come. Avanti is something similar, or in the middle of India, somewhere around Maharashtra or somewhere. So what you should know is that, knowing these places, you will understand where Buddha might have gone. Next, the Buddhist council is very, very important. And earlier they used to first council who was the king at what age, and something like that they used to ask. But I don't think they are going to, because now UPSC has evolved into something like how the logic works. That is what they are saying. But even here I want you to look at the chronology. So, like for example, who was at the time of, or the king at the time of penance of Buddha, who was the king at the time when Buddha died, who was the king in the first council, and how this, see how in a sense Magadha, how this transition takes place, how the story takes place. I wanted to check it that. But now you come to this point. Buddhists in the first council, at around this period, 2 things came. So this is the point. Vinaya Pitaka and Sutta Pitaka. This is very, very important. This is this meaning. What this means you should know. Vinaya means rule, and Sutta Pitaka means sermons of ethics. And in detail we will see in the below. But the first thing is this. Next important council. Next important council is where 2 sect or 2 things came about. Staviridins, this is the point you should, this was a question. Staviridins and Mahasangikas. This is the question UPSC concentrated, and you should know that this is orthodox. Staviridin means orthodox. This is the only thing that you should know. Staviridins means orthodox. Mahasangikas means a member of the great community, and hence it was divided into lesser vehicle and a greater vehicle. And this is the point. So we will see in detail what is lesser vehicle and greater vehicle. But what you should know is that they were divided in the second council. But after that, third council happened, and Ashoka was the most prominent or at the time king. But why I have this third council is that at the time of Ashoka, how the religion in Ashokan Empire was split is Sangha. So the name that Ashoka gives is Sangha, that is Buddhism, and then Brahmanas and Ajivikas. This was also a question. Ajivika. So actually Ashoka at this time, so we may think that Ashoka Buddhism and things, but Ashoka gave a cave for Ajivikas. This was the prelims question. So you should check what is the name of the cave. And next is what in that area Nirgranthas, which is Jaina, and other sect were also there. So look at, this is the classification that Ashoka gives at this time of the third council. Fourth council is Kushana, which is very, very essential, and you can look at it, very important period. This is where this, see, look at this. In the second council, Staviridins came, Mahasangikas came. So you can check it here, Staviridins and Mahasangikas. But in the fourth council, this becomes Hinayana, which is lesser vehicle, Mahayana, the greater vehicle. This is the question UPSC will always ask. This is orthodox. This is orthodox, and this is kind of a liberal Buddhism. So, and one more type is there, which is Vajrayana. This is a Hinayana, Mahayana and Vajrayana. This came later in the 8th century around it came, and this is kind of a mysticism, and in Tibet this is what is there, and this is kind of a mysticism and magic. Eastern India it is very, very prominent, but in Tibet it is very prominent now. And Hinayana in Sri Lanka. So this is the difference that you should know. This is Sri Lanka, which is in the south. Okay, Sri Lanka south, and this is in the northern states, and this Vajrayana is in Tibet. So this whole division of Staviridins, Mahasangikas and Vajrayana, and the world dispersal across this Asian continent also, you can look at it, which might also come. And this lesser vehicle, that is the point. See, Hinayana, what is the lesser vehicle? In this, the book. So we will see important keywords of book, and which is written in Pali. So in that is lesser vehicle. Pali is the language they use. And now you see this three Pitakas are there. In lesser vehicles, or three Pitakas are there. Concentrate on this. Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, Abhidhamma Pitaka. Three things are there. Vinaya, as I have told you, it is conduct. Sutta Pitaka is sermon of Buddha. And Abhidhamma is kind of a metaphysics. In among these things, Sutta Pitaka is the largest. So this if you know, it is okay. And in that it is divided, see, Sutta Pitaka, which is the sermon of Buddha, they have divided into Diga, Majjhima, and two more things are here. But Diga, please have a look at it. It is a sermon of Buddha, and Majjhima is also medium time sermon. But what in Kudak? So see, look at this. The Jataka stories, the stories of Buddhism. Many of the stories that we hear is in this Sutta Pitaka. So you look at this point. And one more book. This is a famous book. That is Questions of Manendar, or Milinda Panho. So this is somewhere around this Indo-Greek period, where this Milinda Panho and Nagasena. So this is one important book. See, look at this. The Greco-Bactrian king and the Nagasena monk. So this is kind of a discussion like Plato's book on Republic. So there was a thing where mingling. So in a sense, after this was after the Indo-Greek invasion, right? Sorry, the Greek invasion. After the Alexander's invasion, this Indo-Greek culture or the Gandhara culture happens, and Plato happens to be in part of the Greek culture, and Milinda Panho is written in the same form as Plato's Republic, and it is like a transfusion of cultures across the continents. Next important book that you should know is the history of Sri Lanka. There is also a book of the Hinayana. As I told you, this Hinayana is in this part. Hinayana is in the south. That Vajrayana is here. Vajrayana is here in Tibet, and Mahayana is across all other places which has traveled across. But in Sri Lanka, so that also you might also have looked at Sri Lanka's. So Sri Lanka's now that religious tolerance is very less in terms of the Buddhist monks. Why? Because it is an orthodox part of the Buddhism. So Buddha happens to be a very liberal or a very middle path religion. But in South, why it is so, or in Sri Lanka, why it is so much conflict oriented is that the orthodox part of Buddhism is what is surviving there. But the book which is there, see, Deepa Vamsa, Mahavamsa, Kula Vamsa, these are all books or chronology of the kings. Like, so for example, there is a book called as Rajatarangini. So this is Rajatarangini, very, very important book. Rajatarangini is a history of Kashmir, or the dynasties of Kashmir. So this kind of books, so Deepa Vamsa, Mahavamsa, Kula Vamsa is a kind of like that for Sri Lanka. So it was in the canons of Buddhism, which is there written in Pali. The next thing which you should know is this: the sermon of this was the point. So sermon, what was the sermon? Which was given by the Buddha at this. So 4-5 disciples were there, and Buddha gives this middle path and the noble eightfold path. This eightfold path you will know, and that other things you should check is that what one important thing that you should check is that he says in this Sarnath, or this Sarnath sermon that he gives, universe. So he talks about this universe. In that, I want you to check, and this everyone will know. So every reason or the problem or whichever thing arises in human mind is because of what it gives rise to sorrow, and desire is the reason for all that. And then the whole world is transient. This everyone knows. But what UPSC asked is soul. That is, see, he talks about no immortal soul. See, there is a concept of soul in India very prominent in Upanishad and in Jaina. In Jaina, so for example, he says even a stone has a soul. So this is the difference UPSC asked. But Buddha here talks about no soul at all. And then you get nirvana and parinirvana. These key words, look at it. This is parinirvana, and that is death. And what you should know is that Staviridins, see, that is Hinayana. In Hinayana, the point of the one thing that we saw is Staviridins. This is Orthodox Buddhism. So, but the point you should understand is that this was not the only sect in the lesser vehicle. There were many sects under this. This sect, Staviridins, is in the Southeast Asia. Look at this point. This is Southeast Asia. All this covers in the Southeast Asian continent. And the next, see, in this lesser vehicle, in Hinayana itself, many Sarvastivadins, many sects are there. Sarvastivadins. In this sect, they have written in Sanskrit also. See, usually the canon or the books written in Hinayana is Pali, but in Sarvastivadins, canon is written in Sanskrit also. And then Sautrantikas. So in a sense, see, knowledge of outside world is same. So Samityas. This point, see, there are many sects in Hinayana. This three does not survive. This three, that is Sarvastivadins, Saurantikas, Samityas, is not surviving now. But this is what is in Sri Lanka. So see, look at this fact. This is the Hinayana part, and this is what is surviving. Next is the greater vehicle, or the Mahayana. This is the point where which after Kanishka, so this is the point. After Kanishka, the fourth Buddhist council, this Mahayana becomes the most prominent vehicle across the world, and this is a liberal. So this is the point. This is not an orthodox kind of Buddhism. This is a liberal kind of Buddhism where they have this concept of Bodhisattvas. Earlier they used to have only Buddha, or what they used to think that each individual through the following of penance and the middle path or understanding the truth will attain this nirvana. But now what they have changed is that there will be bodhisattvas across this world. So there will be bodhisattvas across this world, and they will take the pain and sin. So it is actually similar to Christianity. And this, if you look at it, this is also a confluence of religion. Christianity comes around 0 AD or somewhere. And this Mahayana Buddhism is 200 AD or somewhere. So this is a confluence of religion which happens, and this concept of Bodhisattva is very similar to Christianity. What we see that Christ having taken the sins of the people, and similarly Bodhisattvas took the sins of the people, and they help in liberation of the people from this world. And in this, what they have is that this future Buddha. Many of the religion have future deities. In this future Buddha is Maitreya. This was a UPSC question. This you should note it down. This was the UPSC question, which was the future. And the Bodhisattvas are very important. I'm going to list down the important Bodhisattvas. And in this, the important word is Arhant. See, this is the older version. That is arhant, or the worthy one. The worthy one, what they do is that they attain nirvana. They are not born again, because see what it look like, you are getting nirvana for yourself. It's a selfish act, and hence what you should do is that you should share your knowledge, or share the bodhisattvas, share the pain of the world, and they help in others attaining nirvana. And this is the point, is the difference in greater vehicle and lesser vehicle. In this, very important is this bodhisattvas. That is the concept of bodhisattva. In that, some are very prominent. In that, the first prominent person is Avalokiteshvara. This is very, very important. This is what UPSC asked, and this Padmapani. So this name is, or Avalokiteshvara Padmapani, or the lotus bearer. See, this is the point. This is the question UPSC asked. And this is the image which is very prominent in Ajanta caves. So anyone who has gone to this Ajanta cave, this is very prominent, lotus bearer. And because of lotus bearer, each bodhisattva has one important characteristics, and this character is the character of the person is compassion. Next is Manjushri. Next is, see, this is the image Manjushri. This bodhisattva helps in understanding. See, this is the point. Helps in understanding, and hence is related to the book. And in this, what they asked is paramitas. This is the key word they asked. What is paramita related to? Means it is kind of related to Manjushri, or this is a book for spiritual, that is removing ignorance. Manjushri's work is removing ignorance. And this is Avalokiteshvara, compassion. Next is Vajrapani. This is a person, like, see, look at this person. He is like an Indra. See, there is a thunderbolt like Indra. And what he does is he removes evil and sin. So that is the point. Next is Maitreya. And this is the image of Maitreya, which is future Buddha. See, this is the question they asked, and so this is a very important thing. Next is Mahayana text, which is very, very important. Say similarly, the way we saw for lesser vehicle, for Mahayana it is Lalita Vistara. So look at all these things. So it is a narrative of life of Buddha. So each one, see. And here the important concept that you should look at is that this Lalita Vistara and the Mahayana text, which was written in Sanskrit, this is the text which was used for Light of Asia. This is a very famous poem about the life of Buddha, and what they use as source is that Lalita Vistara. This, please note this down. And this is a Mahayana text. And Sadharma Pundarika, the lotus of good law, and Vajre Chedika, so metaphysical. And then see Sukhavati Yuga. So if you think about it, in that there is a concept called Amitabha. Amitabha is like, father of heaven. So as I told you, there is a father of heaven. This concept of heaven and paradise, this is kind of a Christian concept like that. And there is a concept here also. So Amitabha, it means father of heaven. And these are all important books in Mahayana. And then there is Karandavyuha. And this is about Avalokiteshvara. So this is the point you should know. And then see, look at this. This spiritual perfections of bodhisattvas is in Ashtasaha Sri Pravajana Paramita. See, this is the point they asked. What is this Paramita keyword? You can check it, 2020 Paramita keyword. And this is why this whole canon, you can just look at it. One more thing you should know is that Mahayana has two schools of philosophy, Madhyamika and Yogacara. There is no schools of philosophy in Hinayana. This is very, very key. In Hinayana, there is no school, but philosophies, in here, there are two schools. And then, as I told you, there is one vehicle of thunderbolt, or the Vajrayana. In Vajrayana, this is the point. In Vajrayana, Eastern India, which is there in Tibet also, you look at this fact, the important deity, Prajana Paramita. See, this is the image of the female. See, what happens is that earlier, all these pantheons of God were male. All these pantheons of God, if you look at it, they were male, and bodhisattvas are male. But now, what happens is that this magical powers, the Vajrayana is about the magical powers, and then there starts chief divinities, that is these divinities of women. So these divinities of women, which is called as taras, like a spouse for Buddha and Bodhisattvas. So this Prajana Paramita is kind of these women deities are getting into this pantheon, and you will have minor deities as well, matangis and pisasis. See, demoness, pisasis, this is in Tamil, you will know that pisasu means a demon, and sorceress, yoginis, dakshinis. And this is the tantra. And as I told you, this Vajrayana is more about this magical powers, and they have this tantra or the mantra. Om, see this point, see, Om Mani Padme Hom, this, that is all the jewel is indeed in the lotus, like all the jewel for you will be in Prelims 2022. So what you should look at is that this whole thing, the differentiation of the Hinayana, Mahayana and Vajrayana. Vajrayana is about mantra and tantra and something like that. But one more thing that I want you to look at is maybe this time please look at this for Prelims 2022. So what I would suggest is that, see, why this might come or not, I am not sure, but anyways, Mahabodhi, this is the point. I kept telling there is a temple in Bodh Gaya. So what is this temple? Mahabodhi temple, because it is a very important UNESCO site built by Ashoka at the time of Ashoka, and this is can come this time. So I want you to look at all these questions. I will keep posting questions like this. See, I will not be able to, whether if I am not able to make questions also, I will put those questions in this Minds of Aspirant Telegram group. So the link will be in the description. I will keep posting it, and I'll also keep posting questions which are necessary for preliminary examination till 2022 prelims. And I hope you find this video useful. So please do like it, share it, and subscribe to Minds of Aspirant channel. Keep preparing.